We got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jonathan Walker Hunt.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, always.
So, anything new and exciting in your life? Let's start there.
I mean, I'm same as always, just working, running the internet department over at Volkswagen, picking up where you left off there. You know, I'm guess you can say I'm your best project. So, you know,
First question I always like to ask everybody: how was your childhood? The reason why I like asking that question is because I believe so many people start with not that much, including myself. I know how you started as well, but we're going to share it with everyone just so people can relate and understand. If you want more, go and get it, go and take it, you know?
mhm.
So tell me a little bit about your childhood. How was it?
I mean, I had a pretty normal childhood. Growing up, mom, dad had a younger brother. Dad was in sales.
What do you sell?
He started selling, it was like coffee equipment way back in the day. He sells windows now, just all kinds of different for different companies over the years. Was very successful. I believe he was vice president of a company at one time, even. Um, yeah, yeah, it is. It is. I didn't. I never thought I'd get into sales, honestly. I went to school to be a teacher starting out, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. And then literally stumbled into sales, car sales, specifically by total accident. But growing up, I had a pretty good childhood. Probably, lower middle class.
Mom, dad, what was it?
I mean, yeah, they divorced when I was 8 or 9. So then, um, life growing up like that, it did get a little hectic at times. But luckily, I had, I still had my dad, and I had an uncle who, who was always there for me, mentored me a lot of ways.
Extremely successful.
Very. Um, well, his dad, my uncle's dad, and again, he was my uncle by marriage. Um, his dad, very, very successful business owner over the years. Yeah. And if you're from Louisville or growing up in Kentucky at all, you've heard the name Luther James at one point or another. And, I started out as I got older working under them and their hotel properties, water park properties, things like that. And um, that's kind of how it kind of helped shape who I am today, I guess. Started me like, the way I interacted with customers, learn, listen to people, talk to people. I mean, they taught me so many life lessons growing up. I mean,
So, were you a good student in high school, middle school?
and yeah, in high school, middle school, I was, probably B student at least. Nothing phenomenal. I'm terrible at math, terrible at science, but I could, read, write, you know,
You're very quick witted.
yeah,
That's no John. Quick with the comebacks.
yeah, sometimes. So, again, I probably got that from my uncle, um, and my dad too. My dad's pretty quick witted, and but yeah, average student. Went to college for a couple of years. I went to EKU for 2 years. Um, I had like a 3.5 my first semester. I did really well, and then I found partying the second semester and kind of screwed around a little bit. Left there, went to University of Louisville, transferred there for a couple of years. Actually worked for the football team there too for a year. That had been Charlie Strong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was. So
Great, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time for Louisville.
Teddy Bridgewater, man, that's my guy. Yeah,
Me and my wife was at the Sugar Bowl when Teddy gave one of his best performances, beating the
yeah.
Gators.
I had tickets to that game. I didn't go.
It's not in, it was at
It was in New Orleans. Yeah,
we were super close right there, and it was one of the most magical games I've ever. We dominated them. Like it was just we were not expected to win. Very good time.
yeah.
Had a great time in New Orleans. If you've never been there, highly advise anybody and everybody to go. Great time, great food, great people, hospitality top notch. Yeah, absolutely.
It's always better when they win too. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
then the Louisville Cardinals basketball lost in the Final Four there. Remember that?
yeah,
Here.
yeah.
But well, we won't go there. So um, You did good. You went to U of L, transferred from
Mhm.
KU. Did you make good grades?
I made average grades in college. So at that point, when I was at U of L, I quit the football team because it was 80, 90 hours a week, unpaid work. It was scholarship, basically, is all it was. So, uh, cow manager, basically, equipment manager. But, you would get there 4 or 5 in the morning. And like I said, if you had to stay and do laundry, things like that, you wouldn't get out of there till 12, 1 a.m. And it was just too much. And I wasn't making any money at all. So, there was no way to do it. So then I started working for my uncle.
Graduate?
I did not graduate. Came close, never did. Um, but during that time, I was working at UPS, and then I started working for my uncle too, part correct, part time at one of his hotels. And every summer, I would run his water park.
What did you do at the hotel?
Uh, pretty much anything. I was just whatever they needed me to do. I started out, just working third shift there, walking around the property, making sure everything was looking good, looking nice. Um, and then from there, like I started doing like front desk work, you know, helping the managers, just kind of shadowing them, learning how to, do the inventory, which eventually led to, just basically just taking care of the guests and, just anything that they needed me to do, to kind of his goal, I think for me at one time was for me to fully take over one of his hotels and run it. Um, but life changed. I didn't really like the industry that much. I didn't like the hotel. Um, the clientele's tough, um, typically, and where yeah, the area, the area we were at, too, we were right on the river, so you get a lot of the bad people. Um, Correct. Yeah. So, it's a very, very hard industry because you can't satisfy everybody there. So when people were coming in, they would look for anything wrong with the room, something wrong, and just demand a free stay, whatever. And it just, it got old after a while. I was working so much, not making a lot of money. And I was living at the hotel too at the time, which ended up probably being one of the worst things I ever did because then I was like, well, I don't have any bills. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to.
Comfort.
Correct. Correct.
Spend everything you make.
Yep. Yep. Didn't have to save anything. Didn't have to really, I would literally just walk upstairs, clock in. And then when I got off, back downstairs in my room and it was, it's kind of, at first it was cool, but then after a while it kind of got like depressing. It was not. Yeah. 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 So, it wasn't, it got old quick. And so then my uncle and I started to have some problems, mostly because of me. Because like I said, my work ethic declined. I wasn't happy. I just did not enjoy the work. Correct. And it spiraled quick. He ended up firing me 3 times over a year and a half. So what would happen is he'd fire me for about a month or two,
Stay there living.
Yeah, he did let me live there. Yeah. Yeah. So and then I guess he'd feel bad for me and say, all right, well, come on, try it again. A couple months later, I'd screw up and he'd, send me away, cut me again. Well, the third and final time, he's like, that's it, I'm done. You're not coming back. You need to find something. He's like, I'm dead serious this time. So he was like, I'm not going to throw you out in the street though. He's like, you can stay here till you get on your feet. So I'm always greatly appreciative of that. And so
Let me stop you right there. So the first time me and John Hunt ever met, so I used to date this girl named Diane, and we dated for a few years, and we ended up breaking up. She broke up with me, and I seen her at Walmart, and
right down the road.
I just first interaction that John, he didn't know me, never met him before, but that's the first interaction that he remembered or knew of me.
Yeah, I was just at Walmart. I just ran into her. I was like, hey, what's up, man? We just got off work. All of a sudden, here comes this guy screaming at her. And I was like, who is this? Yeah.
So how old were you and how many years did you work at the hotel?
Uh, Over like the first time I ever worked at the hotel, I started working banquets at 16 when I was in high school. And then so like when I went away to school, I didn't work at the hotel, but just off and on, it was well over a decade. I'd say
Okay.
12 years.
Got away from college. Was you 21? Didn't graduate till around 21.
Yep. And so about 22 is when I started working full time at the hotel. Um, 6 more years. So, yep. hmm It was. And then, so I remember I was laying in my hotel room I was in such a bad spot. I mean, people talk about rock bottom. I mean, that's rock bottom for me. You get fired from your own family business. Like you're just like, man, what, what am I doing over here? Like it was rough. And so,
Hard, I would think, is having to go back there every day,
yeah,
fighting,
yeah,
not working here, but yet going back to it. If you had your own apartment or something, I think it would
yeah.
be better. But going back there, just time after time, just like,
Oh, and I felt like the biggest piece of shit too, because I'm like, man, he was counting on me, and it's like I just completely let him down. I was like, so yeah, pretty bad spot in my life. However, it ended up leading to one of the better moments in my life,
about that.
and yeah, so I get a call from a buddy one day, and he was like, hey man, he was like, I was on Indeed. He said, I see this Volkswagen of Clarksville is hiring a shuttle driver. He's like, man, it'd be super easy. He's like, 5 days a week, just got to drive people. He's like, why don't you just do that till you find something? I was like, all right.
Your friend, shout out to your friend.
His name, it was Patrick Cleveland was his name. Like I said, I haven't talked to him in a while, but, every now and then he'll pop up and see what's going on. But, yeah, him and my other buddy, Jake Patrick, both were, you know, they were calling me every day, checking on me, things like that, trying to help me find something. Yeah, very good friends. Very, very good friends. Um, so I was like, all right, well, so I remember it was like a Monday afternoon. No, it was a Friday afternoon. I showed up. I threw on the nicest shirt I could find, a button down, and just some old khakis. Um, and I remember I stumbled in there, and Stephen Mayfield greeted me at the door.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. He's the very first word. Yeah. And he was like, "Hey, welcome to Volkswagen." I guess he thought I was in here to buy a car, and he was like, "What can I help you with?" I was like, "I'm here to apply for a job." He goes, "Okay, great. Let me go grab." I think it was Kai Noah's who he grabbed or somebody. I don't remember who it was. And so he pulled me in there and all that, and yeah. But no. I was sitting in the lobby filling out the application, and then they brought me into Nate's old office in the finance office and sit me down. And that's when Eric and Tina all came in and interviewed me, and then Kai Noah did. And, Kai Noah and I got to talking for a while and all that. And he was like, you want to be a driver? I was like, but I'll take whatever you got right now. Yeah. I was like, I need something. So he was like, okay. And, him and I, we hit it off and all that. He told me he'd, started out at Hawaii, moved to Memphis. I was just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like,
The heck would you?
yeah. I was like, yeah. So, and, him and I got to talking and all that about sports and everything. I was like, cool. And he was like, yeah, we'll let you know. And I believe it was, yeah, the next day, which was Saturday, I get a phone call from either him or Eric, and they were like, hey, start on Monday, be here 6 a.m. So did that for maybe a week and a half. And, that's when Kano would always come up and talk to me about every day at work. And just, he would just kind of pick my brain, how he would do. And say, like, he'd always ask me, what do you want to do here? And I'm like, I don't know. I had never thought about that. I never thought I'd be working at a car dealership. I was like, I don't know anything about cars. And I was like, but I'll do whatever you want me to do. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. I'm not, I'm not afraid, whatever. And he was like, great. And I'll never forget it. It was a Saturday night. I'm sitting back in the hotel room, just hanging out, and I see Kano call me. I say, what's going on? And he goes, you ready? And I said, ready for what? He goes, you're gonna step up to the big leagues. You ready? I said, yeah. I said, let's go. He goes, great. He goes, be there Monday. Go see Brent. And as you know, the rest is just kind of history. And
so back up a little bit about the drug test part of it. Tell us.
oh man, I hope nobody in my family's listening to this, but yeah. So I had
Everybody knows Don smokes weed.
used to, yeah. I haven't in almost 2 years now. Yep. Yeah. So I used to be a habitual stoner a little bit. Enjoyed it. Um, I go through the interview process on that Saturday or that Friday and everything. They never mentioned a thing about it, not one word. And Monday I show up, and Eric, who is the service manager, goes, "Hey man, what time are you going to take your drug test?" And I said, "My what?" He goes, "Yeah, your drug test." Uh, I was like, "I don't know, man. Sometime today, I'll let you know."
For that.
Yeah. So, like, my first thought was, I was like, "Cause there's no way I could pass this test. I mean, there was just no way." And I go to him, and I thought about it. I was like, well, here's what I'm probably just gonna leave and not come back. I was like, they don't know me. I was like, worst case, I'll just start over next week. I'll find something. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, Eric, we got a bit of a problem. Uh, I was like, I was in Vegas last week, and it's legal out there, and I'm not gonna be able to pass this test. And he goes, shit. He goes, let me call Kano and we'll figure something out. I said, great. Now Kano, the owner, I was like, everybody's going to think I'm this fucking dope head. So I was like, and so he came up to me and goes, all right, we'll give you a week and you can pass it. And I was like, perfect. I went and bought all these like detox pills and everything, just flushing my system for a fucking week. And I passed with flying colors. So yeah. Yeah, I was just like, shit. So, but no, like I said, going from probably the lowest point in my life to what would end up ultimately being, I don't want to say the peak because, like I said, everything's always going to get better, but definitely one of the higher points in my life. And just a matter of, you
So,
know,
so what did you think when he said go see Brent on Monday?
well, I had a feeling that, that I was going to be working under you or with you doing something in sales. I can't remember exactly, what he told me. I will, because the only thing I really remember is it was the one of the happiest moments of my entire life when I got off the phone with him. And, if Kano is listening to this, I just hope he knows how appreciative I was and how grateful I was just for even the opportunity for that. Because, as I've told you and him before, I'm sure if I haven't, I should have, but how, you all didn't realize how low of a point that was in my life. And then for him to take a swing on me and say, hey man, we're gonna help you with this, do this. It was by far one of the most by far the happiest time in my life so far. Just I was so fucking proud, and I knew, you know, after that phone call, I spent that whole Sunday, and I said, I'm not gonna fail this time, and and
Mentally getting ready.
I was, and I knew working for you, I was gonna show up. I was gonna work every day. I was gonna bust my ass and do whatever I could to to be successful because I didn't, that was in my mindset. It's just, I wanted to win, I wanted to do well, and I wanted to, and this is gonna sound, I don't want to sound bitter, but like at my time, my thinking was with my uncle, I was like, I want to prove to him that him getting rid of me was a mistake, even though it worked out for both of us in the end, better. But I wanted to show him, say, hey man, I can do this, and I will. Oh, scared to death. I mean, I just remember sitting there. I was like, okay. I was like, I can figure things out. I can pick things up quick. But man, just working around guys like you and Kano and those guys that have been in the business so long that were so good at what you all did. It was. I mean, it was frightening at first, but um, I think in my opinion, I mean, you tell me otherwise. I think I did pretty well. I think you and I made a real. I was probably like that at first. Yeah, I was, but I worked hard every day. I listened to you. I know you wish I'd have probably read some more books, trained a little harder, but I mean, I really and truly did. Like I said, I still have the notebook from when you were there, where I just would always write shit down, little notes, and but I learned so much over the year. Like I said, it just from where I started to where I am now, and to where I'm going to go, I'm gonna just
So learn. Share a few things.
uh, everything in sales that I know today, I learned specifically from you. I mean, even like I said, Kainoa, some of the guys around there at the dealership, just hot buttons, just call. Well, hot buttons just something that gives it's it gives you a opportunity to sell somebody depending on what they want. So, if somebody calls in and says, "Oh, and you ask them like, what do you like so much about the let's say the Volkswagen Jetta? Well, I love the sunroof. That's a hot button, So then you start pitching. They say, man, then you find out like, their hot button. What why? Why do they want to buy? What do they like so much about it? Just things like that. Openings, you know, an opening anything. Yeah, just anything. Oh, I need more room for my kids. Oh, how many kids do you got? Oh, I got two kids. Oh, cool. Me and my wife, how long have you been married? Just any type of opening to build a relationship with somebody. My favorite one really, the opening is when they say, ask them where they're from or where they live, whatever. And if they say, I grew up in Oldham County, I live out in Prospect. Oh, I grew up in Oldham County myself, and typically they'll know somebody that I grew up with or whatever. And in fact, my brother coached football out there at North Oldham for years, and I've sold a few of his players' parents' cars over the years. And it's just relationship sales is what you taught me probably better than anybody could. I think. I mean, and you still are. I mean, you're phenomenal at it. I mean, yeah, yeah. Anytime, Brent.
First month, did you like it? Did you not like it once you did sales? Did you ever think about? So me, I push people, and John sometimes he needs some pushing. That's just John. Me for the most part, I'm very motivated just internally, and most people are not built the way I am. I know that. So you have to push people. It's the same reason why players need coaches, good coaches, not the coaches that are going to like just kill them and run them into the ground. But you need pushing and understand what triggers people and get them motivated and that sort of thing. So I would have to do that to a lot of people throughout my career, helping them understand just how to keep going. Probably a good way to keep it or put it. So a lot of people there at Volkswagen, we have probably the best culture I've ever been a part of a company besides Ford and Volkswagen, but Volkswagen was the best. We had the best culture. It had Kevin in the office. It had Kai in the office. It had Chase in the office. All jokesters, amazing people. And then you had me in the office. And then outside the office, you had John. Then you had Steven. Then you had Christian. Then you had Mark. Mark is a older person that has been there for like 15, 18 years, 20 years, whatever. And then you had, who was in the back? You had the people that kind of came and kind of went were over there in the corner.
Yeah.
Not everybody stayed because the other part of the probably clique is what you call it. But we treated everybody good, but it was also where, we were just so close with one another. Inside of work, outside of work, we were always together. When we go to our $100 tip dinner, we all still go together for the most part. And there would be people, Chris Cannon, remember him?
Yeah.
All kinds of different people that would come, and not everybody would stay a long time. Some people stayed, a year or so, but not everybody stayed a long time.
Yeah. It was without a doubt the best place I think I've ever worked in. I mean, not that I think I know. I mean, that environment is you can't explain it unless you were there. I mean, it's like going to the wildest party you've ever been to. I mean, no matter what you talk about, like it's not going to do it justice. We
twice.
Yeah.
We shaved Christian's head.
Yeah.
Was doing weights, lifting weights, laid back, and then Chase put his butt on his face. We just had fun all of it.
Yeah, we called it working at the frat house. Is basically what it was. I mean,
it's amazing how the culture, and yet everybody worked extremely hard. And that's part of the reason why everybody worked hard is because everybody loved one another for the most part. We got on each other's nerves just like anybody because we spent so much time together. But it was an amazing time. We shot each other with Orbeez guns all the time. Literally, like every day, we had our Orbeez guns out, just having fun. And again, when customers come in, we wouldn't do it. But, it was a good thing.
It was awfully close, like I said, the Wolf Wall Street, that office up there where they just, we got shit done. But, we had our fun, too.
Set many records.
We did.
I remember the month before I started, which is July 2018, The month before I got there, they sold 42 cars, and I committed to the owner to work there, to run the internet department there. And I was thinking, I was like, dang, 42 cars. But I was up for a challenge. I was, I had the utmost faith in my abilities. And he said, you know what? I'm going to give you all of the internet leads. Just turn it around. And my first day, I look at all of these phone, or I should say, lack of phone calls that the internet department, they had 3 people in there, and they were averaging 8, 9, 10 calls a day, which if you work 8 hours a day, that's one call an hour.
Yeah.
And they had a back in that office where we ended up turning it into like a game room.
Yeah.
Back sell no cars at all. And they would just go back there, their comfort zone. And they told me, Kyle told me to go back there and find somebody that wants to, that I want as my assistant. And I go back there and I was like, this is what it is. I'm now in charge of the internet department. You can take a sales position or you can leave. And 2 people, one person left, one person tried to do sales, Greg, wasn't no good. So he made it shortly, a month or so. And then he left. I took Alexis, which she was, below average, and she didn't last long. And then John comes into my life and we clicked. It was good. It was a good time. John's similar to me in the aspect of he loves sports. We come from similar areas, meaning Louisville. Just good looking dude. If y'all are not watching this in the podcast, good looking guy. And I mean that because, it's just easier to get along with somebody that takes care of themselves, versus somebody that looks scraggly. And it's a difference. So we all got along very, very, very good, like truly brothers.
Yeah.
We drove each other nuts, me and John. Every day I'd have a meeting. John would sit right across from me, and we talked about yesterday's phone calls, what kind of deals happened yesterday, and we were always trying to go in the right direction. So I believe in meetings every day, and that's why every single day in the morning, first thing before anything, first thing for John, because I got there many hours before John, but he'd pull up. And one of the things how long did it take you before you moved out? Moved out of the hotel.
I left there. Let's see, I got fired in August. I was there 2 months, I guess, 2 more months, and I moved in my first apartment.
So John, one of the things that I'll never forget, John tells me, you know what, and it was close to the dealership. I said, man, it's perfect. Move there. And he moves in. And the first time that I go there, he didn't have nothing. Remember that?
I had nothing. Yeah.
He had nothing.
I think I took the towels from the hotel was what I basically had. I had that. I had a bed and a little bit of furniture, but I had no kitchen supplies. No, I mean nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I go over there and I notice this. I was like, I can't let my guy live like this. So me and my wife, it was a Sunday.
Mm-hmm. It was right before Christmas.
And me and my wife were like, this is what I'm going to do. So we went, I think, a couple thousand, $1,500, $2,000. I bought John a whole complete everything for his apartment. And it was amazing. Went over there, gave it to you, helped him bring it out, set it up. So I believe in John. John worked mostly very hard.
I had my day. I had days. I mean, we all have off days. So, but
including myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very rewarding to see this guy advance his career in sales and get better and better and better.
It was things like that, Brent. Not only what you taught me, but and just like I said, getting all that stuff for me for Christmas. I mean, it's things like that I will never ever forget.
Okay.
And I mean, and anybody listening to this, like I said, I started from nothing. I knew nothing about sales, anything at all, and like I learned from this guy every step of the way.
So what did you do for me in sales? Just tell everyone.
So basically, you get the internet leads in.
Leads, people inquire online about specific cars or Jettas in general or
anything. Yeah, anything at all. And so if he was with a customer, I would call him, text him, email him, basically just set the appointments in there. Basically an alley oop. I would just get them in the building. You would do that as well. And we would have days where we'd have a list of calls to make, You say start at the top of the list, you'll start at the bottom. We'll just.
What that means is, like some days he would start the most freshest leads, meaning leads that just came in today, yesterday, the day before. Um, Other days I would do the complete opposite. We'd always try to call 45 to 60 days of people every single day. If you inquired, you got followed up with 45, 60 days, at least 45 days every single day. And the reason why that is because so many people follow up with leads. Like the last dealership I went and helped, they would follow up for 3 days and then they would just give up on people. And I was never the one to give up. I wanted to get more sales. And how do you do that? So John helped me do that. And then going forward, kind of fast forward a few years, we got so good where we closed super high on average 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17%, 18% every single month internet closing percentage, which is phenomenal. Anybody that knows the car business, phenomenal. And we had a process, and John didn't like it at first, sending videos to every person, so I had to do a lot of that. I pretty much sent the videos, just calling the spade a spade. So what I would do first, or what we would do first, is lead would come in and we would average 1 or 2 minutes answered leads. And that's amazing. 5 minutes is very good job. 1, 2 minutes is insane. So we would be the first person to reach out to these people. And the way I looked at it is I can build a relationship. I can, and I taught John how to do that as well. So if I get these people on the phone, they're going to want to come and see me because I took the time to understand them, to get to know them, so I can set the appointment versus other people that take 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour to call people. Even 15 minutes is too long. If you take 15 minutes to answer a lead, I've already talked to the person. I've already made the connection with the person, and I've already set the appointment with the person. And then the next time someone calls them 15, 20 minutes, they don't want to do the same thing over and over and talk to a different person. They've already made the appointment, or just say they did make the appointment. They still like me because I took the time to get to know that person. And so that's why it's so important to getting to the leads as quick as you possibly can. And that's something that I've tracked very diligently, is like understanding the numbers. So every month, guaranteed, worst case is 3 minutes. Yep. But for most parts, it was 1 or 2 minutes, and that was my goal. If I've seen a lead that was in there for longer than 8 minutes, if I was with somebody, John got it. And, when I say got it, I'm like, what are you doing? That aspect. Next thing you do is once you stop the clock, you immediately read the lead, is what I taught him, is because 10% of people, 1 out of 10 leads, they end up asking questions about specific cars. Does it have a sunroof? What color is the interior? Yes, they could have looked at the pictures, the description, but not everybody does. So then they just ask questions. And then you got to answer the questions, and you want to be prepared. There are companies out there, and I would do it to other people, meaning dealerships, just to test them to see how good they are, their responses. And not every time people really pay attention to that. They might just call them, but they overlook the actual questions. And then the next thing you do is you just call the people. If they didn't pick up, you would immediately leave a voicemail. Then you would send a customized text. And when I say customize, you can't just send a generic, is this so-and-so? You want to, this is John Hunt with Volkswagen of Clarksville. Then you're going to have the address. You inquired about the 2023 Jetta, 2024 Jetta. It is super nice. You are going to love it. My cell phone number is this. We're open until 8 o'clock. When's a good time today to come by?
And always put your address in there too.
Put your address.
Yeah.
That's customized text. And people appreciate you taking the time. And most people don't understand that the text templates were already built. So we didn't have to type all of that out. It was built to save us time to concentrate on other stuff. And then after that, you would send a customized text or a customized email. And then right after that, the part that takes the most time is everybody gets a customized email or a customized video. I'm sorry. And when I say customize, inside the video, you have to say their name. So most months we would get 250 internet leads. And that means 250 people, roughly speaking, got personalized videos of the vehicle that they inquired about. And that creates so much engagement because people appreciate that. Because 90% of people don't do it. I don't know if John still does it.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that is how you run an internet department. And
Well, it's service. That's what you always taught too. You know, why do people go? Why do people go to fancy dinners? It's not for the overpriced steak. It's for the service.
it's for the service. So he's heard me say that I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
times because that's exactly what I say. I would rather go, and you can get a very nice steak at Outback or Texas Roadhouse, but you know what? You go for the nice one, Bruce Chris, Malone's. That's one of my favorite places right now here in Louisville because it's right up the road. And Morton's, you go there, Jeff Ruby's, because of service. And there's no doubt there. I will always. I've only had one bad experience in probably 6 years going to nice restaurants. But for the most part, you get amazing service. So if you provide amazing service, people are going to keep coming back. And we did that amazing.
We did.
But so we did that and we killed it. We killed it for years and years and years. And then we got so big selling 40, 50, 60 cars where we ended up having to get another assistant, right?
Connor Brown.
Mr. Connor Brown.
Yeah.
This gentleman had more experience selling cars at a different dealership. And Connor, very talented.
Connor was better on the phones than I ever was, still by far. Because remember his desk, he would sit next to me, and I'd listen to him. He was so much more personable than I was on the phone, and he was. And I was like, and I'd always say, Connor, you have the ability to be phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, Connor was great. I loved working with Connor. Connor was a great dude.
Good closer.
Yep.
Connor ended up getting out of the industry,
Mm-hmm.
out of car sales because he had.
Yep.
I think he's probably 2 years old now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he got out of the industry. Doing HVAC or something, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. He'll hit me up. He pops into the dealership every now and then, once every few months. Haven't seen him in a while, but hopefully he's doing well still and everything. It's like I say, Connor was a good dude.
Absolutely. A good man. That's what
Yeah, you're a good man.
John, the way that I was taught is you need to have like a sales presentation, a script. Most people don't like using the word script, but you need to know what you're going to say to not worry about that so you can concentrate on the customer 100% focus, laser focus of what they're saying, interacting with them. So, I would always say, and Stephen, we were doing this the other night. John, please. Yeah, this is John. John, this is Brent Loveall with Volkswagen of Clarksville. You inquired about this 2024 Volkswagen Jetta. Does that sound about right?
Every day, every phone call, every day. And my desk was right outside your office. I had that burned into my brain and your phone number. If I ever go to jail, I have your number memorized. You're my one phone call because you'd always in every voicemail.
What's my phone?
502-802-9469.
Doesn't have to. He's not looking at.
I'm not even looking at my phone. I don't have to.
So the reason why I like asking, does that sound about right, is because it gets them in a habit of saying yes. The more yeses you get when you ask an important question, the most likely the yes is going to happen. So I believe in building a yes momentum. So that's why I did that. And I made it a purpose to say my phone number. And I know multiple people at the dealership still remember it because they heard it hundreds of thousands of times. Like we were out to dinner, $100 tip dinner the other night, and Stephen brought it up. And he was like, does that sound about right? 502-802-9469.
And he heard it even less than I did. Like, yeah, that was impressive. Yeah.
So we made a very good team. He's grown a lot. Right now, he came here in some dope shoes. Don't even know the brand, but they look nice. They look expensive. All dressed up. If now they're not watching it.
Well, that I started, so when you left to go to Frankfurt,
Ford,
yeah. That's, I had a meeting with Kainoa. I don't know if he ever told you this, but it was the day after you left, I went to him and I said, I said, I'm going to make some changes. And he said, okay. So I started, I spent a bunch of money on clothes and all that. I started dressing better. And I told him, I said, uh, I told him, I said, man, I know everybody thinks that, Brent and I, we had a strained relationship and all that. And everybody thought, oh, I'd be glad you were gone. I was like, no, that's not the case at all. And, I told him, I was like, man, I wish I had one regret. And I said, I wish I would have appreciated it more at the time instead of getting mad about things, getting angry, because I mean, it was tough some days. I mean, you go in there, you're working 6 days a week all day long, and the success we were having, and I got to go in there in your office every morning and say, well, you did this wrong. Like I said something wrong or what. And I was like, man, come on, tell me something good I did. Shit.
John needs a pat on the butt.
Sometimes, every now and then. I mean, it just sometimes, but I told Kano, I said, man, I said, I wish, like I said,
teacher leaves, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I wish I paid more close attention to learn more, to the time is valuable.
it is, and everything that, like I said, was taught over there that I learned that I still use today, just like the yes thing. That's what I try and teach everybody over at Volkswagen now. I'm like, get them saying yes, say their name. If you say their name 3 times in the first, couple of sentences, I was like, you get their attention for what, 3 to 5 seconds every single time. And I was like, then you can, you know, I tell, and then like piggybacking off what you were saying with the yes, then I go into, okay, well, what do you like so much about this vehicle?
Then you get self.
Correct. And then you find out their why, their hot buttons. And then you just go down, you go down the process. After that, well, great. Have you ever owned one of these before? Have you ever driven one? Well, no, I haven't. Well, perfect. Let's come on in. Let's take a look at one. Yeah.
They're gone. If you're a good salesperson.
Yeah. And then, one thing I do like tell them too, one of my new favorite things I like to tell them is, I'm like, I could sit here and tell you all about the car you want, I could tell you about it all day. I'm a little biased because I sell them. I love Volkswagens, but, that's only going to do so much justice until you actually come in and sit in the vehicle and see how nice for yourself it is.
Volkswagens make a very good product.
They make a great product.
Still, they are good quality cars. I love it. Was probably my favorite brand selling.
Yeah.
Sincerely, I might be biased, as what John said, because we had so much fun, and we were the number 1 Jetta dealership, meaning we sold a ton of Jettas. We couldn't keep Jettas on the lot. 40 miles to a gallon, 20, 25, $28,000. We absolutely crushed Jettas. We crushed every make.
Yeah.
Tiguan, it didn't matter, but Jettas. Absolutely. We couldn't keep them on the lot. So John learned a ton from me. I learned a lot from John. And then we, for the most part, for 4 years, 5 years.
I think it's 4.5 is what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, because I left in May of 2022. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, I hope, as you said, that you learned a lot from me. I know, hopefully you're teaching the way you taught me and everything, taught you a few things on like how to make yourself an even better teacher now today. Because again, I started from nothing. I knew nothing. So you basically had to, build everything around, correct. And so let me ask you this. What do you think made you and I such a good team?
That we come from similar worlds, meaning we can relate to one another.
Yeah.
Also, we both love sports. We love Louisville.
Yeah.
Us. I know he would always badmouth a few of the coaches. Like, I like that coach. It was, for the most part, we come from similar worlds and we want to see each other win.
Yeah.
So I love helping people, love coaching people. You needed help. I needed somebody like you, and it worked out. And he worked extremely hard. John, well, let's talk about phone calls. So tell people about phone calls. Like, how many phone calls do you make a month right now?
Probably about 2,000 and 2,500 a month, still.
So you work 20 days a month.
Mm-hmm.
You make over 100 phone calls every single day.
Yep.
You learn that.
I learned it from you. Call somebody at least twice a day. you know, and just, pick up that 500-pound phone.
So one thing we talk about every is how many phone calls you made yesterday. Track all of that stuff like a hawk. Like, dude, you only made 70 calls yesterday for real? I sold two, three cars, and I made 70 calls.
Yep.
What are you doing? And sometimes John didn't like that. But so taught him to make a lot of phone calls, massive action. So anytime John would not make a lot of phone calls, that's what I would say. I was like, buddy, you gotta freaking do it. You
Yep.
gotta push yourself. You gotta, because one thing that was very easy to get caught up at Volkswagen because of the culture, some people played around all day and they didn't sell a ton of cars. The internet department, on average, would do anywhere from 50 to 70% of the cars, meaning just total volume units, gross 50 to 70%. That's how important the internet department was.
Yep.
And that's why I took it so serious, is because we'd get 250 leads a month. We're guaranteed because of the work ethics, we're going to get at least 25 deals out of that, meaning just 10%. We usually close way more than that. So just say 30, 32, 33, 34 deals. And then deals on top of that come into hard work.
Yep.
That comes into social media, repeats, referrals. And that's how we grew it. In my opinion, it's just if he didn't send out videos, because sometimes I was so busy, I'm like, you didn't send out the videos. And, so every day, highly encourage, if you listen to this, you need to understand what you did good yesterday. You need to understand what more could you have done yesterday and make sure you do it today. And don't say, there's so many salespeople out there. I was just helping a dealership and several people kept saying, well, I'll start next month. I'll start next week. No, you're going to start it today.
Yep.
If you start it today, if you keep saying that, you're living in a procrastination mindset, and that's never going to truly get you where you want to be. You're doing it today. And that's the way that I was taught. That's the way I always try to, implement it in other people. You do what you need to do today. Do the hard stuff first, and then you do everything else. John, at the end of the day, every single day at 5 o'clock, he would start from the opposite side. Wherever I left off and him left off, we would always try to meet up, meaning if, you got to think of this. So every single month we get 250 leads. So that means you get, roughly speaking, 500 leads for 2 months. And our goal was every day, call at least 45 days. And a percentage of those buy, a percentage of those say not interested, a percentage of those only has a email, so you can't call them. So me and him every single day, for the most part, would make, roughly speaking, 250 to 300 calls on average. And that's what made us so successful, is because we both worked extremely hard. John and me, I'd always make it a competition where I wanted to make way more calls than John. And sometimes that wasn't possible because I had to sell the cars, So he would brag sometimes, or like, I made more calls than you this month. And, I was like, not next month, it was a game. So that's why we got along.
Yep.
He works extremely hard. I work extremely hard. And any person can appreciate someone that works hard that does that. People that don't work hard, they can't really appreciate it until they start doing it. And that's why so many managers in sales, they love people that work hard, because that's one thing you can't teach. You can't force someone to work hard. If they're not going to do it, they're going to figure out a way to go do it.
It's effort.
Spend 2 hours on lunch. People have ways to figure it out to get away from hard work. So that's part of the reason. Again, there's several reasons, but that's part of the reason why we made such a good team. So we did that for years. And then I got the opportunity to run a dealership, Ford dealership. So I took the opportunity. I dipped, left John.
And I use that, like, what should I say to teach them? And they've got me. So, it's just me on the internet department now. And, we've got a team over there. They don't, a lot of them have never been in sales before either. So I'm having to teach them, like, hey, this is going to be the most important part, especially this time of year. It's like when it's 20 degrees out there, nobody's going to be walking the lot. This is going to be your tool.
People walk when it's 20, they're buyers.
Yeah, correct. They are. But yeah. So I was like, this time of year is where you're going to, it's going to make or break your bank, and
slow months here in Louisville, Kentucky, it's typically January and February.
Yep.
And February is a short month, 28 days, -4, so you got 24 working days for the most part.
Yep.
This month is a leap year, so you've been another day. Most people don't know that yet. But so me, we were always prepared. We had an extremely good team. We got to a point where I even bought a saltwater fish tank, spent like 15, 20 grand on a fish tank.
Yeah, I have to go get water every week for it too, man.
Salt water because it evaporates, it just disappears. Spend Can't tell you how much money in fish, and we'd have coloring books, um, iPads for kids. I mean, we had everything. So when people came in the dealership, they literally left in the car. 70 to 80% is what I tracked every single month, or what we tracked together. When people came in, 3/4 of the people they left in cars.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing job if people know the car industry.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what we did there was truly special. And like I said, I am so, I'm not a very open person about how I feel, things like that. This is not who I am. But honest to God, I mean, that was the biggest blessing, was being there at that time. Like I think, you know, whatever higher power there is up there, every single day that, I was able to literally stumble into that by accident because yeah, yeah, literally just walked in off the street and, you know, but I mean, it truly changed my life, the way I see things now. I've developed a skill that I can use if anything happens. I can go anywhere. Yeah, yeah. I can't speak anything other than English, so but it, I mean, it was nothing more than a blessing, and I mean, I'm so thankful I got to be a part of that. I mean,
Everybody else's game.
yep,
I think the person, you and two other people, grew so much. Stephen Mayfield
yes,
and Christian Caton.
yep. Stephen especially, and um, I don't know if you remember or not. We talked about a year ago. I said, "Man, you wouldn't believe how much better Steven's gotten." I mean, Steven has turned into an excellent closer. He is so good. I tell you, he is so fucking smart with these people, and like how he can, get them in, and even desking deals. I mean, he is absolutely phenomenal at it. I mean, I was so impressed with him, uh, because when judging between you and him when I first got there, I mean, his technique was completely different. He was all product knowledge, didn't really know sales. He'd always done it, but he was so good with product knowledge that he could just close anybody with facts. Now he's turned that into more sales, more closing, overcoming objections. He has improved himself so much. I mean, yeah, yeah. Steve is, like I said, he has done a phenomenal job.
So that's how so many people are product experts, and they spend so much time just learning the product, which that's a good thing.
Yeah,
But you need to spend more time developing relationships and learning psychology and learning how to understand people, ask better questions.
yep,
And you need to, that's the approach that I was taught. Dale Carnegie supposedly came up with it. Relationship selling. If you can learn that, you can sell anything. And I firmly believe that it's always worked for me, and it's always worked for the people that I've helped. So getting to know people, it will get you so much further.
make a friend, make a sale.
Make a friend, make a sale is the old saying in the
Yeah.
business, or sales in general. So absolutely. What else? What other advice would you give new salespeople in the car business? People that's been doing it for a while. What advice would you give?
Uh, like kind of what you said earlier, surround yourself with the winners. Most people, I remember you telling me the story. One dealership you'd worked at, they didn't like you, because you outworked them so much, and they were, But to me, I would want to be around that person who's like, obviously, if he's selling 40 cars a month, he's doing something right. While the rest of these guys selling, 10, 12 cars a month, like, it's just like in life. I mean, you're only as good as the company you keep. And if you surround yourself with successful people, and like I said, I think that's what made me better, was being around you and Kainoa and Chase, uh, guys that understood how to make money, how to sell, how to relationship sell. Definitely helps. And just absorb everything. I mean, try new things, find out what works for you. Uh, what works for you won't always work for me. I mean, you got to be your own person, your own personality, and just figure out what works. And once you do, and just improve every day.
Read any books this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I've the psychology of cold call or the cold calling book. Remember the books I came over? I've been reading that. I'm about to read the Billy Walters book. I feel like they have some good things in it. And like I said, I read. I remember a long time ago you printed off me the Andy Elliott packet, and it's like 30, 40 pages. I read that pretty much every day, brushing up, and I'm constantly trying to make myself better too. What really made me better is when you went to Frankfurt. It was yeah, it was. I went from touching half the leads to all the leads, and just kind of and just figuring out on the fly. And I feel like at our dealership, I'm by far the best on the phone. I feel like I can. They always say, "Come to me, hey, can you call this person?" And yeah, I'll get them. And I know I can. But I mean, it's yeah, I have that too. There's not a lot of objections I can't overcome. Um, but yeah, as you always taught me, there's only so many things they can say. You know, so many objections they can, yeah. So, and once you learn that, hey, well, you're too far away. Well, that's okay. I mean, we can deliver. Whereabouts are you? Well, I'm in Lexington. That's only an hour away. I drive up there all the time. My best friend lives up there. You know, yeah.
All right, so perfect. Next thing, what's after the car business? You staying in the car business?
Don't know. I always thought, like I said, with Kanoa, I was just always thought I was going to work for him and until he retired. But life had other plans, and yeah, I mean, I'll probably stay in it as long as I can. Um, Obviously, it's the best way I think in sales to make money because you control your own destiny. I mean, and the one thing I remember, I asked Kanoa when I first started, I said, why'd you get in the car business? He said, well, everybody always needs a car every 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely.
So he's like, the market is always going to be there. He said, even when there's a recession, people are always going to need cars. Cars break down. They want new ones. It's so. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely stay in it until I can find something else that, like I said, makes me even more money that I can grow. Um, what I would like to try selling something else one day, just see, how good at sales I've gotten. If it's just,
Yeah.
not just cars, but
You're good at what you do now.
yeah, thank
Really
you.
good.
Well, like I said, I was taught well. I was taught very well by a couple of people over there, and like I said, if you guys could have heard me, when I first started, I was terrible. I was so bad. I was just like, geez. But a lot of hard work, a lot of
Now you live in an amazing place.
yeah. I got a nice little apartment. I'm driving a 2023 GLI that I absolutely love. It's been my by far my favorite car.
Come from living in the hotel,
Driving a beat up 2009 BMW that was literally about to explode.
did something for me, and you got in a wreck. Remember?
Yep.
Uh,
At Shelbyville Road, right down the road. Yeah. Yeah. And your wife came pick me up because I was like, yeah, I'm kind of stuck out here.
didn't know where they took it.
Yep. Yep. So,
Yeah.
hmm first new car I ever had. I had shit credit then. Didn't think I'd get one. And like I said, it just, you know, that's part of the reason, like I said, driving nice cars, dressing well, you got, look good, play good.
You got money.
Yeah. Look good, play good, and it goes a long way. And, customers, they see that too when they come in, when they talk to you. If you're dressed nice and, you clean yourself up, they respect that too. And it makes you look more professional. And that's, Steven's nephew sits next to me. His desk is next to mine. And I always tell him, I'm like, CJ, you know, not only that, but like, I was like, be courteous to him. Like yesterday that we had a guy that he was in the military and all that and was asking about a military discount. And I told CJ, I said, thank him for his service. I say, they appreciate things like that. I said, when people walk up, well, like I said, it was, Brent, it's truly been a great experience over the years, man. I thank you truly, for everything you've done for me, everything you've taught me. Like I said, you guys, you guys changed my life, man. Like I said, I had so much fun doing it, and like I said, I don't think I could ever repay you enough for, like I said, the skill you taught me and everything. Continue to teach me, and like I said, I know if I ever have any questions, need anything, I call you. Anytime you always answer the phone, what's up, dog? Every time, man. So um
Close with your uncle again?
I am, like I said, I reached out to him a few months back, and it's great. He's doing well. His girls are all grown. So and he's very proud of me. I even saw Luther a couple months ago, and he's like, I heard you've been doing big things over there. I said, yes, sir, I have. Came
You had it, didn't you?
yeah, came a long way from, like I said, living in a hotel and all that. But yeah, no, I mean, life is good right now, man. I'm truly happy and everything, and like I said, things are great. So
So one more thing, we're going to end up with this. I never knew that this was possible. You can be allergic to weed.
yeah, yeah.
So John found out by getting so sick, hospital sick, that he's allergic to weed. He got so stoned where he blew a receptor because we have like cannabinoids in our receptors
Hmm.
built into us. And he got so stoned, he blew it. And then
Yeah,
anytime that he does gummies or smokes, so now he can't smoke.
nothing. I haven't.
It's
Yeah.
called, it got so hot in the plastic bottles. And he,
I was like, yeah, what else could it be? Yeah. I called the doctor a quack when he told me it was that. I said, man, get out of here. I was like, this stuff's medicine. It don't do that.
John's clear headed,
Hmm.
focused, looking like a G, looking amazing.
Hey, man, I always wear the vest like you did, man. So
Hey,
it does. It does. But, so does hard work, you
well,
know.
and with that, thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you for having me, Brent.
Talk.
Sounds good, buddy.